Hello everyone. Good evening. Hello, good evening. Can we hear me? Hello, can we hear me? Good evening.
Yeah, sure, we can hear you. We can hear you. Good evening.
All right, good evening. Thank you everyone. Thank you all for joining in for class. I noticed that class is quite scanty. Please, just a minute. We are trying to get as many people to join in for the call as possible. Um, Thank you, Alan, for joining. We are happy to have you in class. Please, we'd like for you to, I would just kindly like for you to please help send a notice to your subgroup so that we have more people know that we are starting class now. Thank you very much. Okay. Um, all right. So that we don't waste any time, thank you so much, our mentor, Mr. Adedumadi. Thank you so much for joining. We are happy to have you on the call already. Welcome to class, everyone, to week 5 of the Gypsy Mentorship and Internship Program under the Entertainment Business and Law class. In today's session, we'll be discussing photography and visual arts and visual artworks. And like we already mentioned, we have our mentor, one of our mentors on the call to do justice to the topic today. I will just go ahead and read their profiles as the mentors we're expecting into this class. So first on the list that we have here, we have Onajite Oluwafunke Obiete. So Mrs. or Miss Onajiti is a film and TV business executive and entertainment lawyer experienced in content licensing, acquisition, and distributions of film and TV programming for exploitation of rights by various on-demand and paid TV platforms. She runs Legally Plugged, a consultancy firm where they specialize in providing tailored legal solutions exclusively for creators such as music artists, fashion business, fashion designers, rather, writers, and content creators. Their mission is to protect creative endeavors and empower, that is, their clients with the knowledge and support they need to thrive. Onajite has had an impressive track record as a legal and business leader in media, film, and TV. She has held she has helped supervise several short films and theatrical productions such as Balls, Gracie, the one for Sarah Ije, and the upcoming feature film, The Weekend and Kilometer 17. Uh, she started her career she started her career in distribution as a content acquisition intern at Premium Box Office TV and now currently works at Ebony Life as a legal executive for the company. Ms. Onajite is not yet here, but we hope that she will be able to join us soon. Next, the mentor we already have on the call, Mr. Adedumadi Onibokun. So Mr. Adedumadi is a lawyer and author whose legal practice rather focuses on corporate commercial law with a specialized focus on arts law. He is the managing partner at Adedumadi Onibokun and Co., a general practice firm and lead on matters across different sectors in Nigeria. Adedumadi is the founder of Legal Niger, a justice innovation startup that is making access to justice easier for users, that's lawyers and non-lawyers, by allowing them access legal information, legal services, and an online dispute resolution mechanism to help parties negotiate and resolve disputes. Legal Nigeria also helps lawyers advance their legal careers as well. Adedumade has represented a varying degree of clients in various matters before different courts in Nigeria, including banks, corporate organizations, government agencies, and state governments. Adedumade also represented clients before arbitration panels and election tribunals. In 2022, Adedumade was awarded the Outstanding Young Professional Award at the Nigerian Legal Award. Adedumade was a member of the Nigerian Bar Association Digital Committee and is currently a member of the Nigerian Lagos Media Advisory Committee. Adedumade in November 2023 was sworn in as a member of the Osun State Judicial Service Commission, as a member of the Osun State Judicial Service Commission, and is currently a member of the Drafting Committee for the Review of the National Cultural Policy of Nigeria, appointed by the Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture, and the Creative Economy. Adedumade is the author of the books Legally Rights and Obligations Under Nigeria Law and Social Media for Lawyers. Thank you so much, sir. We are so happy to have you here with us. All right. Still, okay, I can see we have more people who have joined in. I am not supposed to be the moderator for today. I see our moderator is already back with us. Mr. Gottslaw, thank you so much for joining. Happy to have you in class. I will be handing over to you to carry on with the session.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Dennis. It's quite an honor always coming back here. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Gottslaw Kamaloni, and it's always a pleasure moderating these sessions. We're down to week 5 for the entertainment business and law of the Deep Semester Internship Program. I think just now Mr. Dennis has gone through the citations for our mentors. I don't know if you've gone through all, Mr. Dennis. Please, who is left? Have you gone through all?
Yes, I've gone through all. We have 2 mentors that
Okay,
are supposed
thank
to be in
you.
session. One is already here. Mr. Adedumade is already here.
Okay, thank you so much. So, mentees, for today, we're going to be considering the topic photography and visual art works. I know that you've been asked to do your assignments. Each of these topics was carefully selected because in the entertainment business, you would meet every one of them over time. And in a society where photographers begin to understand some things, as of course, not just photography, videography comes into play. So what are their roles in entertainment business? What are how then do they contribute? What are their rights to now the rights, not just IP, other related rights when it comes to entertainment business. And I believe that our session today would be giving us an insight into that. Okay, for today, Mr. Dennis already read that. We're going to be having Adedumade and of course our second mentor. I think she's with us now. Onajite Oluwafunke Odete. Okay. So I think that being said, it's enough for us to move into today's session. Mentees, do not forget my standing rule stands. If you have questions, get them ready during the session. If we're close to the end of session and you bring a question, if you feel like there's no more time for it, we will not take it. So please, as our mentors are speaking, use that time to begin to harness your questions, or as topics lead to more questions, please get ready for what's about to come. Okay, at this point, I want to open the floor to our first mentor, that's Mr. Adedumade, as he'll be taking us in 20 minutes, basically a kind of opening statements and his insights on today's topic, photography and visual artworks, and how they deal with entertainment, business, and law. Hello, Mr. Ade. Good evening and welcome to today's session. The floor is yours for 20 minutes. Let's get your insight on today's topic. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. It's always an honor to speak at this session. I want to thank the organizers for putting it together. And I also want to thank the participants for taking the time to participate. I think it's a wonderful investment into your future careers. It need not even be as a lawyer. You might even be a creative. I know a lot of lawyers who are also creatives themselves. So it could help you both in your legal career and if you're an artist or creative in your creative journey as well. I've been able to go through the presentations from the group. I want to commend the members of each group for what they put together and look forward to you discussing and engaging with you on what you have shared. Today, my topic is photography and visual arts, a legal exploration. I know many of us here know what a photograph is. Many of us here know what an artwork is. But not many of us know the interplay between both of them as it relates to both commerce and creativity and even the law at the same time. But first off, let me start with the basics. Number one, what is a copyright? I'm sure that my slides will be made available to participants after today. Apologies if you've not received it already. I'm sure in our research, we have done a lot about copyright. We have learned a lot about copyright. And the truth is, copyright abounds every day in everything we do. For instance, wherever you are now, I'm sure there is a mobile device with you, either a laptop or a phone. There are copyrights on those devices. When you go out and you buy a bottle of soda, there are copyrights on those drinks. Sometimes when you even go to a restaurant and order food, right, some of those recipes are protected by intellectual property laws. We can even extend it to right outside our immediate confines. When you see a car, there's copyright there because there's trademark there as well. Now, when you even see smart cars, when you see, for instance, like a Tesla, there is not only trademark protection, but there just may be copyright as well, particularly as relates to the codes in which the computer system that drives these vehicles work on. So I want to give a background as to why we have copyright law and intellectual property in the first place. Meaning, why is it important? Many of us like songs. Many of us like movies. Many of us like art. These people that put all these things together are called creatives. Now, creatives play a lot in our lives, not just as people, but as members of the community as well. Creatives tell our stories. Creatives document our journeys, right? Creatives project our realities. There's so much that creatives do for us. Also, creatives entertain us. Now, imagine a world without these creatives. Imagine a world without film. Imagine a world without music. Imagine a world without art. I try to imagine it sometimes, but I can only imagine how boring it would be without all this creativity around us. So the law protects these creatives because of the wonderful work they're doing for the human journey and the human existence. The law ensures that they get paid. The law ensures that they get the rightful percentages that are due to them from the creative work that they do. Because if they don't make money from it, they are not going to continue doing it. Creatives are human beings, just like us. Well, very obviously, there's still the debate about AI, but we'll get there. Creatives have bills to pay. They also have to buy clothes. They also have to educate themselves. They also, when they have families, either male or female, they have to contribute to the raising of those families. And many of us know a lot of this has to do with financial provision, to a large extent. So imagine if the creatives were not getting paid. I'll give you a classic example. Many of us may have heard or saw the video from this popular actor known as Papa Ajasco. This happened, I think, within the last 2 or 3 weeks. There was a video that trended where he was talking about how he has not been able to adequately provide for himself at this stage of his life. Imagine every creative had that same story, right? Imagine Davido, Wizkid, and Burna Boy were broke. Will they continue to sing? So that is the essence of copyright law and intellectual property, to protect these creatives so that they can continue to do what they do. Copyright, particularly, because that is what relates to art and photography, to the intersection between the both of them, right? Copyright extends beyond artworks. It extends beyond artistic works. It extends beyond songs and movies and scripts and books. It also pertains to drawings, etchings, lithographs, woodcuts, even prints. Many of us may be surprised that copyright also relates to maps, like the Google map. I'm sure at least a lot of us are familiar with that. That can have protection also. It also pertains to sculpture. It pertains to photographs as well. It even also relates to architectural work, right? And craftsmanship, even the articles that you write. For instance, you've put together a presentation. Depending on the amount of work that you've done, it can also be protected by copyright. If you want to see a list of what is protected by copyright, I'll urge you to look at Section 108 of the Copyright Act. It's also important to note that if you're going to build a sustainable career and practice in entertainment or media space, you need to fully understand the Copyright Act. Just take some time when you're less busy and read through the Copyright Act. Trust me, it will help you immensely. A lot of us have pictures on our phones. When we have our birthdays and special occasions, right? We take pictures. Some of us even go to the extent of having a photo shoot. I want to ask, because I hope this session will be as engaging as possible. Can someone just tell me, when you go to a photographer and you ask him to take pictures of you, who owns the copyright in those pictures? I am hoping one of our students will answer this question, or one of our participants, sorry.
The photographer, I think so. That's my opinion.
Yeah, the photographer owns the copyright to it. All
right, thank you so much. My sister had an experience not too long ago. It was her birthday, she went to have a photo shoot. The pictures were beautiful. The birthday came and went. Some weeks later, my cousin was walking past the photographer's studio, and noticed that he had put up a billboard, and my sister's picture was on that billboard, right? And she called me, being the lawyer now in the house. She called me and was like, "Oh, my picture is there. What can I do to the photographer? Why should he use my picture without my knowledge and consent?" I had to first of all educate her on certain things. Number one, the photographer owns the picture. And that is why when I went to do a photo shoot, I took with me, some might think it is very weird, but I took with me an agreement. And I told the photographer that he was going to assign all the intellectual property in those pictures to me. Also, that I did not want to see any of my pictures or that portfolio of pictures in any of his marketing campaigns. Well, he rightfully signed it because as a photographer, and a busy one at that, he takes pictures all the time. So to him, it was like, which kind of wahala be this one? Okay, I'll sign it because, he has files of people's pictures. So I guess signing to assign mine to me did not mean much to him. So he signed it. And that is a lesson, right? That is a lesson I want us to learn from here. Learn to protect your own image, your own copyright. Another thing I'd like us to talk about is the line between photography and art. If you've spoken to a lot of artists, now I've spoken about visual artists, a lot of them a lot of them use what we call reference photos. What this means is when they want to paint something, sometimes they need to have a picture, right, that they're looking at and they're painting. They can now transform that image, right, to represent what they're trying to depict, but sometimes they use a reference photo. And there's been times, right, when an artist used the reference photo of a photographer and the photographer sued them for it. I want to ask a question, and I also hope someone will answer. If you are going around in Lagos or wherever you are, and a tout, right? I'm sure we all know what a tout is, or what a tout can be depicted to mean. And a tout hassles you or assaults you. It need not even get to the level of a physical assault, maybe even verbally, right? Keep that in mind. Now, you go to the bank. This is another scenario. You go to the bank and you try to withdraw some money from the ATM, and the ATM seizes your 5,000 naira. If you want to sue somebody, who are you going to sue? Are you going to sue the tout? Or are you to now remember that you're trying to protect your rights on both grounds? So are you going to sue the tout or are you going to sue the bank? I hope someone will answer, please. Are you going to sue the tout or are you going to sue the bank?
I believe in the bank, actually.
To the
Thank you
bank.
so Sue the bank. Thank you so much, guys. So why would you sue the bank?
For lack of providing adequate security around their premises and banking infrastructure.
Okay. Is there any other reason? Let me put it this way. When you sue someone, you hope to get damages, right? So how much damages can you get from a tout as compared to a bank? That is why you are choosing to sue the bank, because you know the bank has money. You know, if you go to court, you can get a settlement. You know, if you go to court, the court can assign damages to you. You know the bank has money. And that's just the basic reason why you're suing the bank. But if it was a tout, one, you don't even know the tout's address to start with, right? You may not even know the tout's name or his real name. So how do you even go about it? Assuming you even get judgment against a tout, how much do you think you can get from a tout? Well, there are levels to toutism, but I'm just talking about the roadside guy. How much money do you think you can get from him? If he had any, do you think he will be on the road doing what he's doing? So it also applies to photography and artworks. When an artist uses the photograph of a photographer as a reference photo, if the artist doesn't have money, or if the art that was made was just some art nobody cared about, the chances that the photographer will sue is very little, as we've expressed in the two illustrations that we gave. But if the art becomes big and everybody is talking about it and is everywhere, the photographer is going to come. Why? Because they know there is money involved. So trust me, lawsuits in this regard always follow money. Most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, some people just choose to sue because they want to prove a point, which is also valid as well. An example is a very interesting case. I don't know if some of us know an artist called Prince. Now, this is an artist that was in the United States, right? And he was very famous during his time, very famous almost everywhere. Just like Chris Brown, you know, or one of those other artists that are out there, very popular during his time. So a magazine wanted to interview him and they wanted to use his picture. So they got the license to use the picture for their magazine, right? They now got a photographer to take those pictures. The photographer did a good job, took a wonderful photo. They published the photo in their magazine. All was well. However, later on, a couple of years after, that man called Prince died. And of course, it was international news because, like I said, it was a global icon in his own way. So he died. When he died, the photographer released pictures of him that he had created. Now, these pictures were about 12 in number. And what really changed in this picture were the colors, you know, basically, it was just the colors. Some were all red, some were all blue, some his hair was black, you know, his face was yellow, but the background was blue, some of the background was white. You know, it was just the same picture that was created in multiple versions. Now, those pictures were a hit because, you know, like I said, this person was a global icon and he just passed away. So those pictures were a hit, they were everywhere, and the photographer was selling them. It was at that point that, if you remember, I said there was a magazine owner that contracted the photographer, and that magazine owner paid for the license to use that particular picture in their magazine. So that magazine owner saw the pictures, right, and went berserk because it was obvious that it was that picture that they published in their magazine that this photographer took that they had used. So they sued the photographer. The name of the case is Andy Warhol Foundation versus Goldsmith. Eventually, that case will go all the way to the Supreme Court in the US, right? And the court came to the conclusion because what the photographer argued was that he had transformed it. You know, he had used different, like I said, they had created like a series of the same picture, but he just redefined each of them by changing the color scheme on each of them. But the court ruled that it was an infringement because it was that photograph and he did not get any license, any consent of the person who owned the license to that photograph, who had given him the pictures. Now, why did the person sue the photographer? Because the photographer was making money from their work, from a piece of photograph that they had licensed and they owned. So they came for the photographer and said, you know what, you can't make money on what we own. I think you just go scot-free. But keep in mind
Hello,
that
sir.
all the
Hello, sir. Okay,
yeah.
sorry. Time is almost up. So please, if you could round off for this
Wow.
intro session. Thank you, sir.
Okay, how many minutes do I have yet, please?
It's actually up though, but I think I can
Oh,
2
oh
more
wow,
minutes for a
20
round.
minutes went so fast. Wow.
Really fast.
Apologies.
That's
Okay, so
fine.
I'm just going to speed things up. Just give me 5-10 minutes and I'll try and short this down. So yeah,
Okay, can we do 5?
only if I'm going to take back these few seconds that you used to talk to me.
Okay, let's do 5 then. You surely give more time to speak later after the
No problem,
presentations.
no problem.
Thank
It's
you.
fine. And I apologize for shooting over my time. So yeah, there are so many examples. For instance, LeBron James, the photographer, a lot of us know him. You know, he made this spectacular dunk during a game he was playing, and a photographer took the picture. After the game, he saw the picture online and he posted it on his social media, and the photographer sued him. It's a picture of himself, but yeah, the photographer was like, "Look, I own the copyright." They had to settle her out of court, though. So that's one. There are other issues like that. Even artists that we know, Beyonce's, Kanye West, you know, many of them have experienced a lot of this as well. Now, that was just to share with us a little intersection, right, between copyright in photography and art. I have a lot more examples, but maybe when you get the slides, you'll be able to read them because I won't be able to talk about them. However, aside this battle between photography and artists, there is something else that I feel is more important in the debate today, and which is AI. Many of us know AI is insane. I could even tell when I looked at some of the presentations, I could tell that there was AI input in it as well, if not in the words, but in the photography. So AI is redefining a lot of things. And AI is really what I would call the opponent now. So photographers and artists, yes, but that's a small battle. The real war is actually between AI because AI is recreating images, AI is recreating artworks. In fact, I wrote about a Supreme Court case in a post that I did sometime during the week. This guy went for an arts competition. He used AI to create the art that he used. Sorry, I don't want to mix the cases up. This guy created art, right? A photograph of an artwork with AI, and he sought to copyright it. And the copyright agency, because when on the part where it was supposed to state the name of the creator, he used AI, and copyright agency said, look, AI cannot own a copyright, right? And the case went all the way to the Supreme Court in the US, and the Supreme Court still maintained that for something, a creation to be protected by copyright, it has to be done by a human being, right? An inanimate object like AI, right, which fits into that description for the purpose of this discussion, cannot own copyright because it is not a human being. This debate it's continuing in various jurisdictions around the world. But there is an evolving argument now. The evolving argument is that if you want to claim you used AI, it is possible for you to register a copyrighted work. But the name of the copyrighted work will be in your name. That's one. And two, you will need to show the significant input that you used, and the significant prompts that you used when you were creating that artwork that you have created. That is about the prevailing thought now. But irrespective of that, a lot of creatives are suffering from AI. There are AIs now that can make movies, there are AI that can make songs, there are AIs that can make artwork and pictures. And I'm sure many of us even have them on our phones. So, what is going to happen to the creatives in this line of AI? Now, we know that AI is taking a lot of jobs, right? If you've been following the news over the past few 2, 3, 4 weeks, you realize that there's been a lot of global layoffs. In fact, there was one company I read that laid off about 20 or 30,000 staff at once, just via an email in the morning about 6:30. That email just came and it laid them off. Why? Because AI is taking the jobs of a lot of people. Personally, and this is how I'm going to wrap up my presentation. Personally, I had an experience with a colleague of mine. One of the things he was scheduled to do was to write an article on a certain subject. And it took him 2 weeks, literally. So when he submitted the article, I reviewed it, and I wasn't too happy with what he had done. So I called him back and I said, you know what? I think there's some lapses in this article. There are things you need to write, there are things you need to change. There are some places you need to go into depth in your discussions. And when he left, it just occurred to me to type the topic into the AI bot, and I did. And it gave me that same article within a few seconds. In those few seconds, after those seconds, I called my colleague and I shared what AI had prepared in a few seconds. Basically, what took him 2 weeks to do, and he still didn't do it well, AI did it in a few seconds. And AI's work was, way better than what he had done. So for us, yes, we are looking at how creatives can protect their work, how they can license their work, which is wonderful, which is great, which is pursuing what the copyright law intended in the first place, to protect these creatives. But now, how does the law protect them against AI? Is the law sufficient? What needs to change? Right? Those are the questions I need us to quickly ponder. Those are the questions I need us to begin to answer and research on. Because eventually, your client, if you are a lawyer, or yourself, if you're a creative, the enemy is no longer going to be someone who is stealing your photos or someone. Yes, you feel hurt that they're doing that, but with AI, a lot can be done. Finally, there are also graphic creators. So there's a graphic designer that used to do work for, us. And he used to charge us, because we're regular customers, he used to charge us about 8,000 naira to 10,000 naira per flyer that he created. Recently, we discovered that we could use AI to also create those flyers. And AI created it beautifully. It used pictures, it used graphics, it used the colors code that we wanted. So now we have stopped engaging that graphic artist, because it will take him like 3 to 5 days. You say, oh, I'll do it in 5 days, I'll get it for you in 2 days. But AI is doing it in a few seconds. So that is a creative. And that is someone that I know personally who have stopped paying because of AI. So thank you so much for listening. I hope I've been able to share a few tips about copyright, and I've been able to set your minds to really reason what the problems of today is and what the creative solutions we need to do in order to protect our creatives. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That's a very strong way to start off today's session. I know, of course, I mentioned I've heard quite a lot about copyright and learning how to apply it to the field of photography and visual arts. Mentees, if you remember from last session when we're speaking about skit making, we're asking who owns the skit, who owns the profits, basically, who owns the particular material we made. Is it the videographer? Is it the actor in the skit, or the owner of the platform? So I believe some of these things being said now would give more insight into that. That's the beauty with the beauty of intellectual property. Most of these things are kind of connected. And again, when he asks who owns, when someone takes a picture at a photography studio, who owns the pictures? Do not forget, he also mentioned agreement. So it's fundamental. If you want to be good in the field of entertainment law and business, you must be an expert in agreements rather, and negotiations. Okay, before we return to our mentees and of course get to our get to hear from our mentor again, we have our second mentor with us here this evening, and I'll be opening the floor to her for a 20-minute opening statement on today's topic, and that's Onajite Odete. Hello, good evening, Onajite, and welcome to today's session. It's quite an honor having you with us.
Hello, how you doing?
Hello, good evening. You're welcome.
Also, happy new month.
Happy new month to you too.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Onajite Odete, and today I'll just be talking to you on visual photography, visual arts, and AI. So, but since we're just doing an opening statement for this conversation, before I actually begin, I want to take a moment to acknowledge Mr. Adedumade, who I admire very much, and who has addressed us also. The depth of and clarity of what he has shared has set a wonderful tone, for today's conversation. And I'm grateful to be building on that foundation. So thank you sincerely. And so our mentees, I must say that, I'm genuinely impressed with the presentations that you shared earlier. I'm so sorry that I couldn't share mine on time. I'm currently working on Secret Life of Baba Segis, but I know that is not an excuse, but I'm very, very super busy. So I will still share the slides maybe before you guys are done with your session. Please forgive me. Sade Dumadi has really addressed a lot of conversations about copyright. So I'll not really repeat what he said because of time. I think I will just start by saying that Nigeria has one of the most vibrant creative economies on the continent. Obviously, we know that the music that we all love, travels the world, or the films that we all love, fills the cinemas from different film festivals, and even our photographs are the photographers here. I don't know if anybody's a creative here, but most of them are being featured in international publications. Some for artists that are being auctioned, or as we know, NFT is being sold for millions and millions of dollars. So but yet we currently have the guiding law that is guiding, especially in Nigeria, which is the Copyright Act of 2022. But I also want to say that apart from the Copyright Act of 2022, we also have international conventions, which I'm sure you guys know about, which is the Berne Convention and other international treaties. So today we'll just walk through what copyright means specifically for photography and visual arts. We've already talked about, I think we've talked about what is artistic works and what is photography work. So I'll just move to saying that First of all, I hope you all know that copyright is territorial. So what that means is that it's only being protected in the jurisdiction that it was created. And but with this new age of digital, like especially with the copyright, like allowing like digital creations, I just want to ask and throw it to the audience and to participants. What do you think? Do you think that, and have you read copyright? Do you think that the digital, maybe visual artwork is now being protected under our Copyright Act? I just want to allow everybody to be in, I just want this to be interactive. So please just answer. Someone should just answer. Did you hear me? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we did. Yes, ma'am, we did.
Okay, so what do you think? Do you think that digital illustrations are now be covered by the Copyright Act? If you don't know the okay. This is not a trick question. I mean, yeah.
So I don't think they are yet protected by the Copyright Act.
Okay. All right. Why?
So
Yeah,
I don't think sorry, can you hear me now?
yes, I can hear you.
No, I'm just saying overall, I don't think I have taken any cognizance of the new Copyright Act and if any updates have been made to it in the lines of digital artworks.
Okay, that's very fine. That's actually fine. So I was asking if do you think that digital illustrations, if you have an iPad, you can now draw on your iPad or illustrate on your iPad, and then it will be a soft copy as opposed to like it being like in a physical format. Do you think that digital illustrations are now being protected by the new Copyright Act? That was the question, but it's okay. Dennis has answered. Dennis, thank you very much for your response. But that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about, which is the 2022 Act, and compare it to like the old Act. So for the 2022 Act, it actually lowered the originality threshold compared to the old law. The old Act required sufficient effort to have been expended on a particular work. And obviously, that copyright needs originality for it to be considered for copyright eligibility or copyright protection. So the new act now says that it's just some effort that is required. If any amount of genuine creative effort was put in, and that gives the work an original character, it qualifies. So this is very liberating for creators. That means that a simple digital sketch can qualify. A phone photograph, maybe taken from your own phone, maybe of yourself, can qualify. With the law does not require you guys to like be like a renowned artist or be like Picasso. It just requires you to, genuinely have made something. Also, that's one of the core changes. You guys need to read further on like the changes for digital the new Copyright Act. I know that like digital content in general, your tweets, your content. I know you're going to do skits later, but just basically content that you share online can now be protected by copyright. So I would go into the next rule of ownership, which is first of all, the owner of the work. The general rule under the act is that copyright vests, ownership in the author of the work. So that means it's the person that created the work. There was something that happened internationally. A photographer took a picture of Gigi Hadid, or it's even, and then also Kim Kardashian. And I know Kim Kardashian sued, or one of those artists, I can't remember who now exactly, but they sued the photographer and said that that is their own work. So conversations around like who owns that photography of Kim Kardashian, which is obviously paparazzi that took her photos, you know. But the conversation now is that it's the photographers or the people that took the photo that owns that work, as Adedumadi had earlier pointed out. So, but I want to talk about the exceptions to that general rule. One of the exceptions is one, if you create a work in the course of your employment, let's say you are employed by Bella Niger, for example, to take photographs of their clients or works like that, you know, the law says that the copyrights will now belong to the employer and not you. So that unless everything is agreements and like Godlove said, negotiations as well. So unless there's like an agreement that says or otherwise. So if you are a staff photographer at a media company, it's the newspaper that owns the work, or a graphic designer that is employed by an agency, the agency owns that work. Also, government works created by under the direction of a government entity or like an academy, the work usually belongs to government. So the critical lesson here is that, you know, a written agreement changes everything. What's a written agreement? A written agreement is just essentially what I want, what you want, putting it down in writing. So, for example, if let's say I was hired as an in-house graphic designer, and the conversation has always been that no matter what, I'm going to be the owner of this work, then that is where the exception to also this rule would apply. I know that I don't know if many of you know the story of Mattel and the person that created those dolls. She first of all sketched them, and then she was actually working full time. And the problem was that probably our employment agreement said that Mattel was the owner of the work. So that settled it, right? That is Mattel. But if you notice, they always credit her. So, but in employment agreements, sometimes they don't even need to credit you, they just move on. Like now, I heard that you know, we all love Spotify Wrapped, but how many people knew that or knows that it was actually an intern who was working there at the time that like created that concept of Spotify Wrapped. And now there's like back and forth conversations about who owns like that general you know, concept about Spotify Wrapped. Now, another thing that I would like to really address is the exceptions to copyright eligibility. Okay, fine, you've created a work. What are the exceptions to it, to the copyright eligibility? Let's say, for example, you want to, maybe you titled it as my secret masterpiece, and you want to copyright it. You can't copyright it because you can't copyright the title. You can only copyright the actual creative expression of that particular work. So titles, ideas, and you know, if you have like a concept or a concept of, oh, that I have a very great idea of how I feel like this building should be photographed, you know, that won't fly. You cannot copyright an idea. You can only copyright the creative expressions of it, which is the photographs, the actual visual expression of the work. So moving on to the next thing, that moral rights. So I really wanted to talk about moral rights, especially as like as something that Nigerian creatives feel deeply, but don't often, Nigerian creatives and also lawyers don't like understand to a certain extent. The 2022 Act codifies moral rights for the first time with like actual real legal clarity. The first is the right of attribution. That is the right to be credited, the right to be identified as the owner of the work. That's why you notice that sometimes you see that photographers always put their credits or watermarks their their what do you call that thing now? Their photographs, or like they must always watermark it. It's like an essential rule. You have to watermark it, and you need to, as lawyers, also encourage your clients to watermark their work. There was an issue that happened, although what happened was that a company used like some works. It's not even digital AI work now, like just like all these stock photos, and use all those stock photos as part of their website. And they actually got, like, this is a personal and this is a story that I'm actually telling you. There's no legal precedent yet, but I just want us to interact and what do we think about what we have learned so far. So the company took that work and use it as part of their website, and now someone is saying that they own the work. So from everything that you've learned so far, I want this class to be as interactive as possible. What do you think? How would you advise the company, or what do you think are the remedies for the company? I hope you all got it.
Okay. I think mind you,
What do you say?
please, with no mind, please.
I can't hear you. I think my network is terrible.
Please, if it's no mind, can you repeat the question again? Thank you.
I hope you guys are listening, are hearing me, because I think I have network issues.
Yes, that's why I'm asking for a bit of the question, because from my end, it was distorting at a bit, at a point rather.
Sorry about that. Please just tell me so that
Overall, I think
let me switch
overall,
network.
no, overall, we can hear you.
Okay. Dennis, you heard me right? Did you hear the question, or should I repeat myself?
Yes, I heard the question, but maybe for any other person that may be experiencing network issues.
Okay. So I said that, I first of all said that for moral rights, there has to be, one of the rules is that the first is right of attribution, which is the right to be identified as the creator of the work. When someone uses your photograph or artwork, your name belongs on it. And that's like, I also said that that's like even one of the cardinal rules of like creating photography works or visual artworks. You will notice that every photographer now actually watermarks their works with their brand name, or even like digital works as well, or visual arts works. So now I now cited a case that happened, and I just want us to talk about it, as you know, make it interactive as possible. So I said that a company got some stock photos from Getty Images, and then use part of those photos as their websites. So now there's someone random that is coming to say that the work or that particular photo belongs to them. So what do you think? What do you think are the remedies for the company? How do you think the company can maneuver this? Anybody can try.
Okay, Menti, so that was very clean. Can we answer? I think she's spoken a bit about this a few minutes ago. So come on, let's attempt something.
Yes.
I feel with having to tender the license they got for the stock photos from stock sites they got the pictures. That I feel that might determine upon against the copyright owner trying to like sue them or litigate them for infringement. Because I believe getting pictures from some of all these stock sites comes with licensing.
Correct. Okay, so but let me expatiate on that. So there are two things to this. The first part is the images that were gotten online. Most of the images that are gotten online, especially maybe get from Getty Images or from Canva, most of them are called Creative Commons licenses, which is that, you know, you are paying as a user, you are paying for the right or the license to use that particular work for yourself. that is why sometimes you have to make payments to use any of those works. Now, those organizations actually already also pay royalties. They pay royalties to the people that created the work for them. Sometimes they actually hire in-house artists or designers or photographers to create those work for them. So they pay them handsomely, or they pay them royalties, especially if they are licensing the work. So that's on that flip side. On the second side, the person that is making a claim that work is actually frivolous as far as I'm concerned, because first of all, he did not put like his credits, which is like now a cardinal rule, like an unspoken cardinal rule, that if you created a work, you have to put your credits on the work. So, and that is also in line with the moral rights as granted by the new Copyright Act, which is that you have a right of attribution. Also, speaking more on right of attribution, if a creative or works on a film set, you have the right to be credited. That's why most of the times when you see like the roll-up, like the credit scene, you see a lot of people being credited in that particular film. So the second moral right is the right of integrity. That's the right to prevent your work from being distorted or modified in a way that damages your honor or reputation. So, for example, if you are licensing your work to another person, or if you are creating a work on behalf of somebody, you have a creative has a right to say, oh, please, I don't like how this thing is being portrayed, or maybe they're asking you to do that, like they use AI to remove the and make the person nude or something like that. So you have the right to object to false attribution as well. So that's that for moral rights. I'm going to also talk about infringements. I know that Adedumadi also talked briefly on this, but in the new Act, Section 36, rather, I think it's Section 36, yes. Section 36 defines infringement as doing any acts restricted by the copyright owner's rights without authorization, and it applies to any substantial part of the work. So everybody knows that copyright means the rights. It's basically, copyright means your monopoly over your work. So if another person now,
hello, Najite.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, yes, our time is up for this opening statement.
Oh, okay. I'll just round up.
So you can round off. Once we listen to our mentees' presentation, we'll have more time for mentors.
Okay, no problem.
Thank
so
you.
I'll just
so
round up.
Thank you.
So I'll just round up and just conclude. But one of the most powerful new tools in the new act is the digital takedown mechanism, which is that, so for example, if you've copyrighted your work and you submitted it to NCC, you can complain to NCC through their app to take it down. YouTube has, like, I know a lot of people are aware about many YouTube cases that has happened over time, which is where someone is using an unauthorized music in their film. You can submit to YouTube to take it down. And yeah, also, apart from digital tools, there are also like remedies available to a copyright owner, which includes injunction. And the injunction, you can have the right to say that, please, I want to stop this person from doing whatever it is that they are doing. And you also have the right to the proceeds of the sale. You can say that, oh, if, let's say, if you are the author of an original artwork and someone has sold that artwork at a public auction or through a dealer, you're entitled to a share of the proceeds. So lastly, on the AI conversation, which I know that you guys did a very marvelous job on, and what Adedumadi has also said, I will just talk about something that is very, very essential. If you read the ChatGPT's policies, you will notice that, especially for ChatGPT, you'll notice that most of what they actually stated was, any inputs that you, or inputs means prompts that you did, like generated by yourself, and you just ask AI to just enhance, like maybe let's use literary content now, because I know we'll get into photography at you guys presentation, but let's use like written content. Let's say you just want AI to like fine-tune those words. The most important thing, and as Adedimade said, is that there's now a debate over how much human creative efforts that you have expanded on that particular input that you've done. So the law talks about, especially the originality flowing from actual human intellectual work. This means that a work generated entirely, let's say like entirely, you just say, oh, generates a story that boy meets girl, boy hates girl, everything done by AI, that can never be like protected by copyrights, because there's no meaningful creative contribution. And the second thing that is now generating a lot of controversy is also the issue where, and I know that this is like a big issue for creators, is also the issue where most of these AI companies are using copyrighted works to train their systems. So I want us, as we talk today, to have conversations about that, especially because me, myself, I'm going to learn from you guys. So I want you guys to talk about that as well. Like, what are the what are the solutions for us as an industry, as a creative economy, for this AI tools? Like Adedimade said, the enemy is now AI tools that is using your own work to generate. Even my profile picture is AI generated. So using, like, I don't know if this was gotten from another photographer. I don't know. So I want us to like talk about that today, and I'm really hoping that you guys are going to, give us insights on it. Thank you very much. Thank you also for having me, JIPCC. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Onajite. Sorry, our moderator is having some network issues.
Miss.
Miss
Yeah,
Onajite, yes, thank you for the correction. Our moderator is having some issues with his network, so he'll be joining us soon. So, but just to take over while we wait for him to join, we have heard from our mentors share their thoughts on the issues around photography and visual art, the copyright issues, who does the artwork or who does the work belong to, right? And we have had the opportunity to hear them really discuss this. So, okay, I can see our presenter is already sharing the slides. So please, we'll be taking presentation from group 1 and group 2. Please, you have 10 minutes for your presentation. Yes, you have 10 minutes for your presentation. We would like to get straight to it as soon as possible. Please, while group 1 is presenting, group 2, let's quickly get ready for our presentation also. Please go ahead, Alan. I can see you are already up for it.
All right. Good evening, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Sorry, just hold on. I'm trying to set up my PC. I'm trying to set up my PC. I'm very sorry. I'm trying to set up my PC. Okay, so we're talking about protecting and monetizing visual art in the digital age. So in the current days now, when every smartphone is a camera and sharing is easy or it's default, photographers must master both the craft and ecosystem on how to protect their works. Now, a lot of times, these photographers are not aware of methodologies on how to protect their work. So it is essential that they get to know about copyright. Copyright is invariably the bedrock of visual rights. So the moment the photographer takes a picture or snaps the subject, he automatically owns copyright to that subject. Let's take, for instance, a photographer gets to take picture of the Eiffel Tower, and he doesn't own the Eiffel Tower, but he actually has copyrights to the Eiffel Tower. So now, what's the next question is, what next do photographers, what next do a visual artist or a photographer gets to do when he has a work which is copyright eligible? The first thing a photographer or visual artist ought to do is to register their work. By virtue of the Copyright Act, photography, which is also copyrightable, and authorship is vested originally on the owner. But however, in most jurisdictions, let's say for instance the US, in order for you to claim infringement of copyright, you must be shown that your copyrighted work has been registered, which is why as a photographer or a visual artist, it's essential that you get to register. Now, the next thing is, what condition can a photography or a visual artwork would be used without being an infringement or without constituting an infringement? Now, the answer is that's what they call fair use. So by virtue of fair use, a photographer's work or a visual artist's work can be used without constituting an infringement. For instance, in cases of criticism, news publication, or education. For instance, you go to school and most times picture samples during presentation are used to educate other students or on certain subject matters. So it is very, very essential that photographers get to protect their files by Can you hear me? I don't know, my screen went off.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, your screen went off for a minute, but we can hear you now.
I don't know where it
Yes,
is.
we can hear you. We can hear.
I don't know. Can someone share the screen for me?
All right.
Okay.
So please, can you give me a minute? Let me try and see if I can.
Okay.
Okay, it's back up.
Okay, so in order for photographers to avoid infringement, it's very essential that they get to watermark their features, like their visual art or their photography. This can be done through the metadata. Let's say, for instance, if you download a song, and a song, metadata are also on music. So if you download a song or a photography or a video and you click on the info, you get to see details of what phone was used to make the photography and was used to take the picture, the time, the location, and every single thing. So it's essential that photographers get to utilize the metadata to, to protect their work. So now, next thing we're talking about is blockchain. Monetization for photographers and visual artists has been an issue over time, but with the advent of blockchain technology, it has made it easier for photographers to be able to monetize their work and visual artists through smart contracts, NFT tokens, and crypto related platforms. So now next one is monetization strategies for modern artists like photographers. So a lot of photographers always wonder, okay, how do I monetize my work? So part of the monetization strategies for photographers are direct licensing. For instance, I take a picture of you and I'm giving you the license to use the picture for your commercial, for one or two commercial, and I'm getting paid for that. The next part is stock photography. For instance, you want to download images for design, you can get to buy the pro version on Pixabay, Pixel, etc., etc. And others are creating limited editions, which are premium on prints that people can actually get to purchase. So finally, in conclusion, invisible stuff. Steps a photographer ought to take to be able to monetize and protect their photography or their visual arts. The first step is to register your work with the Copyright Association in whatever jurisdiction you are in. The second step is to monitor with AI, use internet crawlers to crawl the internet and find out where your photography or your work is being used. The third step is to apply invisible watermarks, which is a metadata data, or you can also apply visible watermark. And the final step is using authentication, blockchain authentication. So guys, it is very essential that a photographer or a visual creator gets to employ these steps to ensure that their photography is properly protected and monetized. So thank you so much for group one. Bye.
Thank you very much, Alan, for helping out with presenting on behalf of Group One. Well done to you and to your team for putting it together. We appreciate the efforts it took to get the work done and presented. So well done once again. Our mentors will be giving feedback after Group Two is done. So Group Two presenter, are you ready? I'll be sharing your slides, but can we just get to meet you while I bring up your slides? Hello, can we hear me? Group Two, please, can we have the presenters? Okay. Mukhtar, can you go ahead? Yes, good day, we can hear you.
I'll be presenting from Group Two.
Yes, please go ahead. You have 10 minutes.
Group Two, I'll be presenting our presentation which title on protection and monetization of emerging visual artists. Visual artists. Next slide, sir. We're talking about how photographers and visual artists in Nigeria can license, protect, and ethically preserve their cultural heritage to sustain income. And why this matters is simply because of the increase of the global reach and limiting risk on considering the digital approach of the digital sector gives them more reach to their creativity. And this, considering this, this will be combining the strategies of licensing, the legacy, and the practice of monetization. Next lecture. Licensing gives ownership while granting specific use to users that may be interested to use a creative of a works of a creative, and this ranges in terms of being cultural and royalty managed, and this could often be in royalty-based agreements or subscription, like the stock site that Ms. Enajete mentioned. The royalty-based could focus on whereby artists get to earn a percentage every time their work is being used, and this is ideal for high-value commercial photographies or creative art, digital creative art, whereby they tend to make a little percent over each time their work is being used. For instance, now maybe an image of a fella or an image from a museum being used in an advert, in an ad, or maybe in any campaign. Such a creative who owns the copyright to such a project or such work could be earning a little percentage over time. And the other type is that of the stock, the subscription mode, whereby they'll be earning, and the creators can be earning a percentage over time for each time their work is being bought or being used. This can be called passive income. And that of the royalty free is a case whereby is a one time whereby an artist or a creative is being paid one time for their work. Maybe someone is being commissioned to do a painting or a mural on a wall, such like that, sir. Next slide, sir. Yes, this right manage this whereby calculation or this in terms of maybe the right manage is in the case whereby a creative is being paid over time and they are being paid precision, and over time maybe this can be called a passive income, whether they're being paid periodically over each time their work is being used. For instance, now maybe the lead family or any photographic creative out there tends to do a creative covering a festival, be the Doba Festival in Kano or the the Jebu festival, the Bended Jebu festival, each time their work is being used, they might be paid a percentage of such a work, maybe as per being discussed whatsoever brand, maybe for instance, a global commissioning a creative to use, they can be paying them over time for each time their work is being used, be for campaign or any other creative use. Meanwhile, the royalty model, the next slide, sir. Meanwhile, the royalty model is where when an artist is being paid based on the percentage, like I said mentioned, maybe 5 to 20% is the ideal legal range per each time their work is being used. And maybe over time at the end of the month, quarterly or yearly, they didn't give a report of how the sales tend to be. The royalty fee, this is the one time whereby they sell and someone can be commissioned to just sell an image for a one time and they did say afterwards they don't have any copyright right to such a work. This could also be exclusive and non-exclusive. And exclusive could be where they are being exclusive, they can claim credit to such a work, and non-exclusive is in the case whereby they can't so claim anything to you. This mostly happen with major brands and big scale clients like that. Next slide, sir. The stocks platform, this is more like the Getty, the Shutterstocks, and all these other sites where the creatives the structures to upload their works, and such works are being bought or being subscribed to by other users out there, and they are being paid over time or being paid a cut or a percentage of the sales. Like for Shutterstock now, they're being paid, a creative is being paid 15 to 40% per sales of every time they are different, which mostly range around 28 cents from 28 cents upward, and that of the stock in Spain, Adobe Stock, and the other Nigerian platform. Next slide, sir. This is what we'll be talking about, the legal protection and online risk for creatives, where protecting their works from infringement and also copyright protection. Under the Nigerian Copyright Act, as mentioned by Ms. Onejiten, artistic works are projected for 50 years post-production, post-publication. This gives them the protection of their works being legally used, and this can be used against unauthorized commercial use, copying out watermarks. In the case of a photographer drop the pictures or posted the pictures, and someone gets used to such a picture without their credit or without their copying away or using AI to remove the watermark. Such in this case, they are legally protected, and this could come down to some litigation that might be taken against such a person, and such a litigation we'll get to discuss that in the next slide. Next slide, sir. Yeah, this litigation gets to be in case of such a person is being warned using any of this personal letter, being warned or giving a notice in the digital DMC Millennium Copyright Act to take down such a post, and such a person takes it down properly, or then the next case will have to be formal takedown if they're not adhering to taking the warnings, and then the next stage is having to report to the Nigerian Copyright Commission, and that if such after that the litigation can be taken against them in proper. But this often has to be being ideal to start with informal contact with the person, then whereby escalating to take down or entity report and litigation taken necessary. Next slide, sir. The cultural heritage of visual arts is this is where our visual arts are some of the things of our heritage or our cultural identity, and visual art goes a long way in protecting and preserving them for the greater features. And in case when this tends to come, one of the great things one of the tools or structures that are available for artists, creatives to protect their works, covering each of all these cultural heritage, is by using preservation tools. Like there's one in this being, I forgot the name of the museum in Benin, whereby they are digitally protecting and preserving some of our artifacts using some of all these photogrammetric devices, giving them the 3D structures, whereby for next generations to meet this can be in having to use any of these preservation tools. And then risk mitigation, whereby files are being protected by password, are being protected by copyright, and being licensed using blockchain certification for authentication, and also the ethics of having to cover such a thing. I think I've read in case whereby they are when having to cover some the cultural cases or for some cultural exhibition or in festival, a creative tends to know some guidelines or some standpoints that get to be. Yeah, in some cases they will say a creative can get to stand in front of the monarch directly, either you take it from a corner. And in such a case, if such a thing is being taken, even as much as someone have the copyright for such a thing, once you can still be called upon to take such a thing down or no, and when we get to publish such a thing. So this by goes by with the risk they are having for creators to know before having to venture into some of all this cultural everything. And the practical toolkit, which will be this will be our take home is having like the contract for creatives to know, the artists to know, okay, they have to have a contract in place that covers their works. Then the workflow habits, whereby they get to know having to shoot, they need to preserve their metadata into pictures, into any of the digital files. This could be in as watermark or embedding their watermark into the metadata behind outside the file, then or probably posting the low res and the high resolution will be available based upon this upon request or upon commissioning or upon request to be bought by any of these, be the rights management or the right fee or the right or any or the stock site you tend to be. Then this and then it's also good with having to know the milestones. A creative can get to celebrate their milestones of having of having achieved a certain number of creative works by so much, or then renegotiating with the client or maybe the whatever client or brands they are talking to, and also having to know the entity rules of that covers the copyright act and so and all of that. That's the end of our presentation for groups.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Mutai, for running us through your presentation. Well done to you guys in group 2 who put the presentations together. A big thank you for all the efforts that you guys have shown. So we'll be reverting back to the mentors to get their thoughts on your presentation and also maybe any other things that they may have wanted to say in class that probably didn't get the opportunity to. I think in about 10 minutes each, right, we would revert back to them for that. And then we'll take questions, we'll take pictures before drawing a curtain on the session. So Mr. Adedumadi, if you are with us, we'd still like to get your feedback on the mentee's presentation and also get to maybe hear you share some of the other thoughts that you may want to fill in on for what's left of the class.
Excuse me. All right. Thank you very much for those presentations. I really enjoyed listening to both of them. And I also particularly noted how in-depth, your presentations were. I want to commend both teams. Because I have the presentations in front of me, I also want to commend them on form. It's quite easy to read, quite easy to follow the ideas from one to the second. And yeah, I also noted the images that were used, tried enough to depict what was being discussed. The first presentation, I also noted, which also the second presentation also did touch on, was extensive discussions on new technology. Things like blockchain. It was quite interesting to know that you had included that as well. So well done on that. Generally, you've both done a good job. What I would like to say, I really don't have any criticism, But what I would like to say is what you've done now is what I would like you to hold as a good foundation. You've studied in this area, you've done research, and you enjoy it enough to be able to bring out a good presentation. So kudos to you all. But continuous learning is everybody's business. So I urge you to continue to read, to continue to research, and to continue to develop your skills in this area and any other area of law that may be of interest to you. So that'll be all from me. Thank you so very much. I would also like to add a quick thank you to my co-speaker. Our presentation was also quite interesting. This is not the first time I'm joining her on the session, and our presentations have always been quite apt and very well researched, and also discussed a lot of points that are of value to the conversations at hand. So thank you so very much, my learned sister. Yeah, that'll be all. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. We sincerely do appreciate your feedback, right? And just another encouragement to the mentees. So the learning doesn't necessarily stop here, right? What our mentors have done in the last 5 weeks in the different aspects of entertainment, business, and law is to lay a foundation for you into the industry, for some of what to expect in the industry, some of the issues that you would expect in the entertainment industry, irrespective of which one you might be focusing on, seeing that we have run through several aspects or dynamics of the industry, from the film business, from film business to music business to fashion business to even digital content, and now photography and visual art. We sincerely do encourage you to try to keep improving yourself and sharpening your skills within the industry. So thank you, Mr. Adedumade, and I really, really do hope that everyone who is on this call right now is taking thorough notes on everything that has been said and shared, not just in this class, but in all the classes. I would really encourage all of us to make sure to revisit the sessions, right? The links have been shared with you. The links for this one will be shared with you so that you can just get to hear over and over and over again some of what our mentors have had the opportunity to dispatch to you in class. Miss Onajite, please, we would also like to get feedback from you now.
All right, thank you so much. And also thank you, Adedumade, for your kind words. I'm honored. Okay, so to be very honest, I enjoyed the presentations, and I learned some things that I didn't even really think about properly. So particularly for the first presentation, I loved that you clearly imputed fair use and digital watermarking, which I knew I spoke about watermarking and digital watermarking. Also the blockchain, as Adedumade said, and also AI-powered image recognition and web crawling. It was very profound. Also for the second presentation, I actually really like this, the design formats. But it's also obvious that you used AI as well in generating all these images, maybe Midjourney. But I really like the conversation on rights manage, examples and tactics, and legal protection and online risk, especially when I was looking at it. I don't really have anything to critique on the work. I feel like it was well researched, especially at this level. It's actually very, brilliant. So I'll give you a round of applause. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. So yeah, we've come to that point in the class where we'll get to like to pick our mentor's brain, right? I'm sure that there might be a question or two we'd like to ask them. Please, if you do have a question, kindly indicate by raise of hand, or you can send your question into the chat box. We'll read them to the mentors, and when they respond, and then we'll get them to respond to your questions. So please, if you have a question for our mentor, I want to encourage us to take advantage of this particular segment or session, right? Because it just gives us the opportunity to learn better and further, and maybe anything that they might have missed out during the session, they would get to share some of it in the question and answer. Okay. So Mukhtar is asking, that's R1, he's asking, Alstar is asking for your social media handles. I don't know, Ma and Sir, if that is something you are willing to share into this class, please. I think for just maybe the ease of them getting to just copy, if it will be possible to help send it into the chat box so that they can have that at their disposal and also get the correct spelling. Please, we are taking questions. Are there questions that we would like to ask? Hello, mentees. Let's go ahead and ask question. This is officially, not unofficially, right? But unofficially the last class for the entertainment business and law course, right? So please let's ask questions. Let's ask questions. Let's ask questions. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Onajite and Mr. Adedumade. They have dropped their the links to their social media accounts on the call, right, on the chat box, so you can always do well to connect with them. You can copy it and save it on your phone and then connect with them after the session is done. Right? Do we still have questions? Okay. So in the absence of any question, I want to say a big thank you to our mentors for a very, very wonderful time in class. Thank you for getting to share your thoughts with us and also answering the call every time we beckon on you to help run through the entertainment business and law space. It just shows that there is a level of passion you have for not just the industry, but for those who want to enter the industry, making sure that they are well trained and they are living up to the expectations that that they eventually live up to the expectation that comes with being a practitioner within the industry. So we say a big thank you for your time, your shared knowledge in class, and everything that you have overall contributed to in this program and in all the subsequent programs where we have had you come on board and share with us in the entertainment space. So thank you once again. With us, we have come to the end of today's class. For all the mentees that were able to make it to class, I want to say a big thank you. This is unofficially the last class for the entertainment, business, and law session. The reason why I'm saying unofficial is because there are other sessions that you will be having, but obviously the dynamics of class would be changing and it will not be within just the entertainment business and law space. The instructions and informations about that will be sent to your group, so please watch out for it, and even including the tasks for the week and what will be required for you to do in the coming week. Please also watch out for that. Don't forget to connect with your mentors. Kindly reach out to them. Questions beyond this class, you can reach out to them, tell them that you attended this program, share what you have learned in the session, tag your mentors. Let's get to spread the word that you're actually learning from this structure and from this space. All right. And with that, we've come to the end of today's session. I wish everyone a wonderful night rest. Please do enjoy the rest of your evening and good night.
Thank you very much. Do enjoy your evening, everyone.
Thank you too. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone. Yeah.